In the tapestry of English kings, some were warriors, some were tyrants, and some were visionaries. But King Edgar of England, remembered as the Peaceful, carved his legacy not through bloodshed but through unity, reform, and stability. Before Edgar's reign, England was a land recovering from centuries of chaos, Viking invasions, civil wars, and religious uncertainty. Power shifted frequently, kings ruled, but rarely reigned in peace. It was within this turbulent backdrop that Edgar was born around 943 AD, the son of King Edmund I and Queen Elphigifu. Edgar was raised in a royal household of shifting loyalties. His brother Edwig briefly took the throne after the death of King Edred, but Edwig's erratic rule led to a split in the kingdom. In 959 AD, Edgar, supported by church leaders and nobles, was proclaimed king of all England. He was only 16 years old, but unlike many rulers his age, he ruled with vision and clarity. Edgar's reign is often described as a golden age of Anglo-Saxon England. He brought stability and unity. For 16 years, there was no recorded invasions, no civil wars. He improved administration, established standardized coinage, and upheld a system of law and order. His rule marked a transition from warrior kingship to one of diplomacy, governance, and reform. One of Edgar's greatest legacies was his support for the Benedictine reform. With the guidance of three key churchmen, Dunstan, Oswald, and Ethelwold, Edgar helped revitalize monastic life in England. Corrupt or lazy clergy were replaced. Monasteries were re-established with strict Benedictine rules. These religious centers became not just places of worship, but hubs of education, agriculture, and manuscript preservation. Though Edgar began ruling in 959, but his formal coronation didn't happen until 973 AD in Bath. It was a symbolic moment, his way of showing the unity of England. The ceremony set a precedent. Future English coronations borrowed heavily from it, including the one used for Queen Elizabeth II in the 20th century. Kings from across Britain pledged loyalty, acknowledging Edgar's supremacy. Though Edgar was called the Peaceful, his personal life was not without drama. He had multiple wives and mistresses, and a scandal involving the abduction of Wilfred from a nunnery followed him. He fathered two sons, Edward the Martyr and Ethelred the Unready, whose rivalry would later plunge England back into instability. Edgar died in 975, likely in his early 30s. His sudden death left a power vacuum, and a struggle broke out between his sons. Edward was eventually murdered under suspicious circumstances, paving the way of Ethelred's troubled reign, one that would undo much of Edgar's work and usher in renewed Viking invasions. King Edgar the Peaceful may not wield the fame of Alfred the Great or William the Conqueror, but his rule was a cornerstone of England's growth into a unified nation. His legacy lies not in war, but in order, not in conquest, but in peace, and in quiet strength of a king who ruled wisely when others might have chosen otherwise.